Did you know that you can edit the elements within a PDF using Canva? Yup. Having a problem staying focused on a task? New tool Focusable seeks to help you with that. Canva Video is not only an awesome video editor, it now has a background removal tool as well. Gmail has added new layouts and a multi-send option for email marketing or newsletters. And we're saying goodbye to another EdTech tool in this episode. Welcome into episode 13 of the EdTech News Brief. I'm your host, Jake Miller. This is the show where, as the title says, I tell you about the EdTech news and I keep it brief. And by brief, I mean clear, concise, and just what you need to know. Nothing more, nothing less. This is episode 13. It's November 7th or 8th, depending on how long this takes to edit. And I've got some EdTech news to share with you today. Happy November, folks. Can you believe it's already November? I can also not believe that it's been a couple weeks since my last episode. Maybe I can. Maybe we're finding out that this show that I thought would be weekly will be a little less regular because I'm like you, I'm in education and I'm a parent and I'm super busy. But there's so much EdTech news to share with you. I can't wait for you to hear about this stuff, and I've got a backlog of other news stories, so I really hope that I can start cranking these things out for you because I don't want you to have to research this. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to make it so that you don't have to run around looking for what's the updates with Canva, what's changing with Google. I want to do that for you. So you have one spot you look, you just listen here or watch here, and I'll tell you all about it. So without further ado, let's get to it. In the last episode, I shared a boatload of Canva updates, but it was too much to fit into one episode. So I've got a few more to share today. When I saw this first one, I said, wait, there's a PDF editor in Canva too? All of those things and also a PDF editor? Yup, I stumbled upon this one and I'm super excited about it. You can import your PDFs into Canva and edit them for free. It even breaks the uploaded PDF into editable documents. Want to customize some things or delete some elements, take out a certain picture or change a word that's misspelled? You can. Wow. Just go to the upload option in the top right and upload a PDF. Then head to your projects and click on that PDF to open it and mess around with it. You can easily change, add, or edit text. You can add images, lines, shapes, and other content. You can even use the built-in Draw app, which is in beta right now, to add a signature. It was a little bit tough with my trackpad, but on a touchscreen, it'd be much easier, I'm sure. What a great idea to add signatures that way, right in Canva to your PDFs. You can also add, remove, and reorder pages, so that means you can merge or split PDFs. They listed some other features that I haven't quite found yet. I'm still kind of exploring this PDF editor, like the ability to rotate pages. I'm sure it's in there somewhere. I'm sure there's more things that I haven't even discovered in there. Lots of possibilities editing PDFs in Canva. And don't forget, you can collaborate on these too. Go up to the share button, bring in another person, and you could start collaborating on these PDFs. And when you're all done, you could share these right on the Canva site, turn them into presentations or turn them into websites or download them as images or PDFs, of course. And if you share them on Canva using those share links, you could even check the viewing statistics to see how many people have come and looked at your PDF. Just like all of these Canva features, they're free, but with some limitations. However, for us educators, there are very few limitations because education accounts are free. With the PDFs, there are the minor limitations are the maximum file size is 15 megabytes only, and the maximum number of pages in an import is 15 pages. And hopefully they'll ramp those up later in the future. There are some other things that they don't have in this PDF editor, according to their announcement, including soft masks, shading, tiled patterns, JPEG 2000 or JBIG images, and color filters. I don't really know what those things are. So I guess it's not a big deal for me. So they have the things that I feel like we need for a PDF editor. I will say, however, it's not a perfect tool. As you can see, we get well, those of you watching the video can see, we still get these weird OCR text things that we're used to and see in other apps, like text that rotates between capital and lowercase letters for seemingly no reason. And sometimes it can't even read a font at all. So it's got a ways to go to be a perfect PDF editor. But remember, it's all editable. So if the errors are minimal, like if it just has a couple letters uppercase that aren't supposed to be, you can just go back and fix that. Fix them right there inside of Canva. All right, today's sponsor is Focusable by the team that brought us Swivel, Recap, and Synth. And here to tell us about Focusable is Focusable's community manager, Sarah Candela. What's up, Sarah?
Hi, Jake. Thanks for having me, and thanks for helping me reorganize my desk before
Sarah and I
we
have figured
start.
out where her light should be, where her microphone should be, how her blinds should be set up behind her. We've mastered the audio side of it. Everybody's listening right now, like, wow, Sarah's voice sounds amazing.
That's it. All you need is a floating voice because I do know how to travel with good equipment, but I don't know how to pick the place to record while I'm traveling.
Yeah. I want to hear about Focusable, Sarah, because I have loved over the years some of the other things that your team has put out, including Swivel and Recap and Synth. And Focusable, the idea behind it really resonates with me because I was learning about Focusable. And I know it comes from the experience that your team had during the early days of the pandemic with lots of Zoom meetings and things like that, and you all learning some self-regulation activities and realizing that's what our students need
Mhm.
too, is to learn some self-regulation things and how to focus. So I'm really eager to try out the tool. I'm really eager to hear about it. So tell us about it, Sarah. We're excited to hear about it.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for digging into that background a little bit because if you couple that idea of our experience as adults, during doing Zoom meetings back and forth, what seems like forever during a pandemic, and then switch to a student's point of view, and they were really dealing with much of those same issues, at that time. And so thinking about how we can translate that experience to a tool that not only we needed,
Mm.
but also we know could be deeply beneficial in a classroom setting or to an individual student. I mean, it really seemed like a no-brainer to start working on something like that.
Yeah.
So right now we're talking about Focusable as, yes, it is a tool that progresses your focus. We think about focus as not just a fixed point,
Mm.
but something that is flexible. So we think of focus as going from distracted to a point of focus. And then eventually, can we get to a point past that where we actually get into a feeling of flow?
Mm.
So it's a little bit flexible, which I think is cool. So Focusable is a tool that helps you progress your focus and then transforms learning and work into more productive and enjoyable experiences.
Yes, please. So tell me about how that works. What does that
Magically,
look right
it's just
exactly?
magic.
What does that look like?
So, yeah, so from a teacher's point of view, what you will see is essentially like a dashboard, and we call it the group page. And within your group, say you have 20 students in a class, you'll see a card with an outline of essentially what is a brain. And inside the brain looks like little connected dots. And it's us just kind of using that as a way to communicate that that is the activity within the brain. And so much of what we've done is based in like now pretty much exactly a year of scientific, neuroscience research, biology research.
Wow.
A lot has gone into making sure that what we're asking you to do as adults and asking you to do with your kids is really based in what we need
Mm.
and what we are able to handle as far as a single work session. So a teacher will see the progress that a student can make within a given set of time. A progression is basically how we see the journey between focused and flow, or between being distracted and getting focused. And we break that into little bits of time. So rather than setting a goal and saying, I need to finish my physics project, and getting stressed about it and saying like, okay, I'm going to set a timer, and I'm going to get it done in an hour, cramming something really difficult into 1 hour is also not beneficial. So how do I break that down into manageable chunks of time where the goal is really maybe just start for 5 minutes?
Mm.
And so when you open Focusable as a student or as an individual user, you'll see a 5 minute timer. And so we just start for 5 minutes. And can you do that and then become aware of, are you even able to do that 5 minutes without picking up your phone, looking at TikTok, thinking about when can this be over? Like, what
Hmm.
are the things that you individually are typically distracted by?
Okay, so I'm the
So,
student. So I sit down. I say I'm okay. I'm going to see if I can focus for 5 minutes. I click that button. It starts a timer, At the end, the timer goes off. Then do I self-assess? Did I succeed or not? Is that what happens next then?
Yeah. And so when that 5-minute timer goes off, you'll then be presented with a little screen that will ask you to record a short reflection. Recording that reflection, which we think is going to start building that meta awareness that you need to be focused. On top of that, you'll then be asked to give yourself a little tag. So you could tag that you were either completely off track or that you were feeling tired. So there's a kind of a balance of positive, negative, some neutral assessments that you could kind of tag that moment, and you can kind of see like a progress through that progression of. So after I record that reflection, tag it, I will then be presented with a 10-minute timer.
Okay.
So we kind of scaffold it in the progression. So you're going from just having to start and giving yourself 5 minutes to 10 to 20, and then eventually asking you to take a break.
So I love this for whether it's reading or working on a project, or like you said, especially studying, because our students, I think study skills are tough for them. And until they realize how they're doing at it, they might continue to just keep looking at their phone or looking at the TV or whatever it might be during that time. So this is forcing them to focus on the studying and then reflect on that, which is huge. And then the teacher can go back and see how they did, right?
Right. And so as a teacher, I can kind of pop into the progressions that my students are working on. And if you did, like I was mentioning that dashboard, the group view before, you could kind of see a bird's eye view of like what's going on in the brains, like there's these little kind of bursts of light that you'll see appear as people record reflections. They kind of represent the amount of reflections. So if I looked at it from a class point of view, I might see 3 little bursts of light in Jake's brain, and then a student next to him might have 10. Doesn't necessarily mean you've done less work. It just means that you're progressing in a different way. Like you might be just reflecting a little bit less or doing longer stretches of time before you reflect or something like that.
Interesting.
But when I do go into yours, I can click through each of your recordings and see what you tagged yourself. I can hover over a recording and listen to your reflection. I can also reflect back to you in a recording of my own.
That's awesome.
And share my screen and give you, if I see that you need a little help. And so that there's a little bit of that social aspect back and forth that is available between the teacher and the student. And that goes into your progression.
That metacognition then leads to self-efficacy and things like that. And we see the student get better and better at this stuff. So I know Focusable has been in beta testing. Is it out for, can all of our listeners and viewers jump in and try it out now? Is it ready for everybody?
Yes, it is now. We just publicly released in mid-September. So we are now ready for everybody to come on over and try us out. We are available on the web and also on Android and iOS devices. So
cool.
The app is kind of beautiful. So yeah, we would love to have you give it a try.
Yeah, I love it. And free, right? There's a free version and a pro version.
It is totally free. Yeah. We do find that teachers are like signing up to say like, hey, I want to try this with, my 7th graders. And then we hear from them or we connect with them and they say, actually, I need this for myself.
Right.
So they're winding up really using it for their own work a lot before they start jumping into it with kids, which is kind of, it's a little unexpected, but also we like to say that focus is everyone's problem, but we are all focusable.
Yeah, I love that. What a perfect note to end on there too. Well, Sarah, thanks for joining us today and telling us all about the tool. I will make sure that in the YouTube video and in the podcast notes and all of those things, there's a link to Focusable. It's at getfocusable.com though, right? And everybody could jump in and try it out or try it the app in the App Store and see what they think of it, right?
Definitely. Yep. Getfocusable.com. And you can follow us on Twitter at getfocusable as well.
All right. Well, thanks for being here today, Sarah.
Thanks so much, Jake.
Wait, more Canva stuff? That's right. They've upgraded their video tool too. It already lets you upload video clips. You can already use it to drag and drop them on timeline, and you can perform the basic necessary editing tasks with them, like trimming clips or splitting clips or resizing clips. It also already lets you access a ton of their templates, add text elements, add slick transitions, insert some of Canva's familiar graphic elements, kick your videos up a notch with music or audio tracks and sound effects, and you can add your own voiceovers or narration. But there's more. They're adding and continuing to add new features. And this first one is a big one. They're now letting us remove backgrounds from videos. This is a pro feature, but once again, it is free on education accounts. In my testing, there doesn't seem to be a limit to how long of a video can remove from a background from either. So you can put in a longer video and pop the background right out of there. Now, I only tried it on videos that were, I think, 18 seconds, 54 seconds, and 58 seconds long, and it worked fine on any of those. Obviously, the longer the video, the longer it'll take. So maybe there is a limit, but I haven't found it yet. It just goes kind of slow if it's a longer video. The only downside with this tool is that you can't modify how it removes the background. And since it's done by AI, the removal isn't always perfect. Did it take out something it shouldn't have? Did it leave in something it should have taken out? Nothing you can do about it. But seriously, that's like complaining about free pizza because it doesn't have banana peppers on it. This is an awesome feature, and I'm excited to play with it more, even if I'd like to add some banana peppers along with a sausage and pepperoni. I think we're having pizza for dinner tonight, and that sounds really good right now. And anyhow, back to Canva videos. Another new feature, they've added new animation tools that let us adjust the type, speed, style, or direction of all of our video animations. Again, all of these features are available on the free education accounts. And guess what? I've got at least 2 more Canva updates that I'm going to save for the next episode. Yes, there's more Canva stuff. So make sure you're subscribed, following, getting notified, and all of that so that you don't miss it. Gmail has been the most widely used email client for some time, but it's been missing some features. One thing that I've long wished it had was the ability to create newsletter-like emails, like have some actual formatting in there. Another thing is the ability to send one email to many people, but to have it appear to each one as if it's an individual email. Of course, there are workarounds for both of these things. We could format the email somewhere else and then paste it in here in Gmail. We could use mail merges to send one email to many people. We could use BCC so they don't see the other people on the message. But now, some of you could do some of this stuff natively in Gmail without a hack. They have added 2 new marketing tools. First off, you can now access a variety of templates that include buttons, images, text elements. And you can customize each of those and personalize the layouts with new colors or add in new images and more. So that covers that first issue I was talking about. Fancy, formatted emails built right in Gmail. The other update is the ability to multi-send emails. Now, no need to send a BCC to all recipients. By using multi-send mode, each recipient gets a separate copy of the email, and it includes an unsubscribe link. These are both great news. The not so great news is the availability. Google Workspace for Education Standard and Plus users do have these features, while Education Fundamentals users and the Teaching and Learning Upgrade users do not have these features. Once again, though, I'm a little bit puzzled by this availability. At least they're telling me clearly who's got what. And I can understand why Education Fundamentals doesn't get it. It's the free version, so if you want to hold this back from the free users, understandable. And I can understand why Education Standard and Plus accounts do get it. I mean, they're pretty pricey. Standard is $3 per student per year. Add that up for your school district, right? And Plus is $5 per student per year. So I get why they do have this feature. What I don't like, though, why don't Education, Teaching and Learning Upgrade accounts get these features? So these are per staff member accounts that cost $4 per staff member per month. So you're not paying for a number of students, you're just paying for, say, your teachers to have access to this. So that's $48 a year for every staff member that's getting it. So why would they not get this feature? I know it's less money than paying $3 or $5 per student per year, but it sure would be nice to give that feature to those Teaching and Learning Upgrade teachers to send out their newsletters and things like that. So that's a bummer. But again, Education Fundamentals doesn't have it. Education Teaching and Learning Upgrade doesn't have it. But the other two, that's Plus and Standard, they do have it. There's actually a little more news here as well. A few months after rolling out the multi-send feature, Google then kicked it up a notch with some personalization merge tags. In big email service providers like MailChimp or Constant Contact or BirdSend and others, you can add merge tags to fill in people's first names in your greetings and such. So you send out an email, you send it to 100 people, each person sees their first name at the beginning of the email because it's linked to their contact. You use a merge tag and it pops right in there. And you probably know how to do that from spreadsheets and things like that as well. Now you could do that in the Gmail multi-send option if you are on Google Workspace for Education Plus. So Education Fundamentals and Education Teaching and Learning Upgrade teachers, you can't send multi-send emails, so this is no surprise to you. Education Standard users, though, you can send multi-send emails, but you cannot add this personalization to them. Those of you on Plus, you can now add at first name, at last name, at full name, and at email into your multi-send emails so they look a little less like they were part of a multi-send campaign. You'll also be able to have a preview email sent to you to make sure the tags are functioning correctly. To fill in those, it'll use the information from in your Google Contacts to determine what to fill in there, so you may want to double check what you've got in there. Here's a weird part. If you don't have the recipients in your contacts, or if you just don't have their first name and last name filled in your Google Contacts, Gmail will try to guess what to put in there, which I think is kind of crazy. For the most part, this should work because Gmail will know the info for other Gmail addresses, which probably accounts for a lot of what you're sending to if you're on a Gmail account. But can you imagine emailing jakemillertech@gmail.com and having a guess that my last name was Tech, or for some reason my first name was Jack? Embarrassing. So make sure you have accurate contacts for any multi-send recipients if you plan to use this new feature. Just head to contacts.google.com to do that. Make sure the first name's right, make sure the last name's right, or just don't use these merge filters. And a reminder, while Plus and Standard users can send multi-send emails, only Plus users can use those merge tags in their emails. And later, they do say that they're going to add in more merge tags and they're going to make up your own. For right now, you just have that select few. And again, this is just Plus user accounts. Hey, don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, click the thumbs up to tell me thanks, click subscribe, and ring that notifications bell. If you're listening to the podcast, don't forget to follow the show or subscribe if that's what your app says. And if you have a moment, please submit a review. This last news item is a quick one, but I wanted to be sure to share it. The audio tool Synth was shut down earlier this fall. As you heard earlier in the episode, that team has turned their attention to their new project, Focusable, which I'm really excited about. If you use Synth, which was a great tool, you might be worried about recordings you had in there. If you had recordings in there that you want, the site states if you need help getting access to your content, please reach out at support@gosynth.com. And hopefully you'll be able to recover what you need. So what if you were counting on Synth for some kind of audio things? Well, if you're looking to facilitate audio discussions, you could use Flip, which is well known for video discussions, but can also be used in mic-only mode, or you could use Padlet, which has an audio option as well, or you could use Mote in a number of ways, like maybe in Google Slides. That jumps out to me as a good way to facilitate discussions. And there are certainly other simple audio tools like Vocaroo, audiovoicerecorder.com, Cloud Audio Recorder, and more. But I think those three I mentioned, Flip, Padlet, and Mote, might be the best for if you're looking for a discussions kind of thing like you had in Synth. But I could probably list 5 other potential options. So, I like dad jokes, right? I mean, I tell one at the end of every episode. I also love seeing groups of educators participate in book studies around my book, Educational Duct Tape. I mean, I really, really love that. It makes me so happy to see. And I'm always excited to connect with those groups of educators to hear their reflections and answer any questions that they have. So when someone leading a book study contacts me and says, how much would it cost to do a Q&A with you on Zoom with the people who were part of the book study? I'm always like, are you kidding me? Pay me? That sounds like a blast. Why would I have to get paid for that? It was quite a conundrum for me. Charging money for something fun? No way. So now I have a solution. If you have a group of educators doing an educational duct tape book study and want to connect with me for a Q&A, here's the price. Each participant has to tell me a dad joke. You're that right. Everyone on the Zoom has to take a turn telling a dad joke. That's the cost. So if you're doing a book study, reach out to set up that Zoom. By the way, if you'd like to do a book study, I can also get you a reduced price from what you see on Amazon. That's right. If you're getting more than 5 books, reach out to me and I can hook you up with a lower price and start getting those dad jokes ready. Finally, the way that I cap off every episode is with a dad joke straight from the world's greatest dad jokes, the complete collection, over 500 cringeworthy puns and one-liners book, which my mom got me for Christmas last year. So let's see what we got today. I did not pre-select one here. I'm just going to go to a random spot in the book here. Why don't oysters share their pearls? They're shellfish. I hope you're not shellfish with sharing this episode with your friends. I think they would benefit from the EdTech news that I share. I know I'm not being shellfish by keeping this all to myself, so I'm unshellfishly sharing it with you, and I help you unshellfishly share it with your colleagues. Sally sells she shells by the seashore. I really appreciate you tuning in. I hope to be back again next week, and I really hope that you will be back too. I'd really appreciate it if you do those awesome things like rating or reviewing the show in Apple Podcasts, liking or subscribing to the show in YouTube, following the podcast on your favorite app, and of course, sharing this episode. Remember, don't be shellfish. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.